Yo, today is November 5th, and it's day one of this month's book club. And this month, our story is called The Improbable Tales of Baskerville Hall.
耶！又到我们好书俱乐部的单元了，相信大家非常期待本月的好书是什么呢？来跟大家说一下，我们这个月要介绍的好书呢，叫做这个巴斯克维尔 Book One 学院的待解之谜。你听到 Baskerville 或是那个 Baskerville Hall， 你就会想到啊，如果你是这个福尔摩斯迷的话，你应該有看過這個作品叫 The Hound of the Baskervilles.
That's right.
就是巴斯克維爾的獵犬。
That's right. And Anthony said Baskervilles because Sherlock Holmes, the famous story, The Hound of Baskervilles Hall, adds an S that we don't usually say today. Let's look at today's subtitle. A young detective's journey begins.
好，它的副标题呢是 A Young Detective's Journey Begins。这个 detective 的意思呢，就是侦探的意思。这个地方 journey 的话，给人感觉是一个比较长的旅程哦。那如果说今天提到这个 detective，A Young Detective， 当然就是指我们的少年侦探。我们赶快来看看今天精彩的内容吧。
The Improbable Tales of Baskerville Hall. While author Conan Doyle is known for writing the Sherlock Holmes series, the author appears as the main character in The Improbable Tales of Baskerville Hall. The story begins with Conan Doyle as a young boy living in poverty with his struggling family. Young Arthur is lucky to be selected to attend a special school for clever students. He sees this chance as a way to help his family and joins the school, Baskerville Hall. After arriving, he becomes friends with two other students, Irene and Jimmy, though he also makes a few enemies. Just as Arthur begins to settle in, a series of break-ins, thefts, and creepy events threaten his future at Baskerville Hall. Meanwhile, Arthur and his friends are invited to join a secret society called the Clover. To become members, they must take on 3 challenges. In the process, Arthur discovers a mystery that leads him on a dangerous adventure. Readers familiar with the Sherlock Holmes series will recognize many of the characters in the book. Dr. Watson appears as one of the teachers at Baskerville Hall. And, of course, it couldn't be a Holmes-influenced story without Holmes himself, who makes an appearance near the end of the book. Read it yourself to find out what these young detectives discover in this Holmes-inspired world.
Okay, friends, as always, before we begin, take out your pens and pencils. I forgot my blue pen today, so I'm going to use my red marker. Honestly, when I study my magazines for Yanxi Yingwen, I always use pencil. I feel pencil writes really nicely in our books. Let's look at the word improbable from our title today. Improbable is a pretty high-level word. It just means unlikely or not likely to happen. The chance is pretty small, maybe like 5%, maybe 10%. And a tale just means a story, and we know this is kind of fake when we say it's a tale, like fairy tales.
没错，我们来先看一下这个标题，他说 improbable 这个字 ，improbable 这个字呢，它是故意用在这个我们的书名里面，因为你如果去看那本书的话，你一打开来，你就会看到福尔摩斯的一句话说 Once you have eliminated the impossible, all that remains, however improbable, must be the truth. 好，我们来讲一下 improbable 的意思就是 not likely to happen or to be true. 就像Chris 老师刚刚所讲，大概就5%的可能性。
Yeah.
所以说今天这个福尔摩斯说，当你把那些不可能都删除了之后，剩下的东西好，即便它看似不太可能，但是总有真相在里面。这是他讲过的一句话，所以他们就把 improbable 这个地方用在我们这个标题书名里头。那 tales 这个字的意思呢，就是故事， 往往是指那种编造出来的这些故事，不是真实发生的。就像老师刚刚讲的 fairy tales， 就是童话故事。
Okay, let's look at paragraph 1. While Arthur Conan Doyle is known for writing the Sherlock Holmes series, the author appears as the main character in The Improbable Tales of Baskerville Hall.
好，我们来看第一段的第一句话哦。所以在这里的话，我们先看到这边他讲到说 ，While Arthur Conan Doyle is known for writing the Sherlock Holmes series。好，在这里的话，我们先看到第一个 Arthur Conan Doyle， 他同时是福尔摩斯这一系列作品的作者。但是在我们今天介绍的巴斯克维尔 Book One 学院待解之谜里面，它的主角呢就是 Arthur Conan Doyle， 就是这福尔摩斯作者用他的名字。然后他就说 The author appears as the main character in The Improbable Tales of Baskerville Hall， 就是在我们本书里头，他呢也是作者，也叫做这个 Arthur Conan Doyle。
Let's pick up our pencils and underline VILL in Baskerville. When we see VILL, we know this is Latin for house or like a town or a village. We know somebody lives here. This VIL is about house. 请 underline and then 写下来 house HOUSE。
没错，所以 VILL 这边给你感觉就是是跟房子啦，或是跟城市有关。像在法文里面 ville 这个字 VILLE 它就是这个城市的意思。
The story begins with Conan Doyle as a young boy living in poverty with his struggling family.
好
When we live in poverty, that means you are poor. You don't have a lot of money. Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, buddy.
OK， 所以我们来看一下，老师刚刚特别补充了一下，他说 living in poverty。poverty 这个字是名词，指的是贫穷，就是 poor P-O-O-R 的这个形容词的话是 P-O-O-R， 名词的话是 poverty。在这边这个地方他说 The story begins with Conan Doyle。 这个故事一开始呢，就是我们的主角柯南道尔 as a young boy， 他呢是一个这个小男生，对不对？living in poverty with his struggling family， 跟着他的家人过着这种很贫穷，非常非常在苦难中挣扎的这样的生活。
And let's look at the word struggling. That means it's not easy. And we have two G's. And when we have 双字母, usually it means 前面的那个母音要断的，有意外。But we have G, 而且有另外一个 G, so 前面的 U 是 struggling. We know that's a 短 vowel. Okay? There we go.
Yeah, 所以在这边的话，注意一下 struggling 这个字的话，两个 G 的那种拼法跟它的发音哦。
All right, and let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we got paragraph 2. Okay, friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We're on pages 12 and 13, and today we're talking about The Improbable Tales of Baskerville Hall, and we're talking about our character, not the real, but the character, Arthur Conan Doyle. If this name, Conan, sounds familiar to you, that's because the cartoon character Conan is based on this guy.
没错，所以说如果各位看过《名侦探柯南》，当初这个毛利兰在问他说：“你叫什么名字？”的时候，他看一下隔壁的这个，他的刚好是在那个书柜旁边嘛，然后看到隔壁这个刚好有福尔摩斯的这个全集，然后看到这个柯南道尔的名字，他就赶快灵机一动，就编出我叫柯南这样子。所以这个柯南，你听到这个名字的话，应该会很熟悉。
Okay, what would be the funniest book that could have been there that wasn't like Conan? Like Conan's a good name, right?
Yeah.
Because Conan it's just a good English name. But what would be like a funny book here? Like Tanto Junshen, and it's like something stupid. Look what would be the dumbest.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna think about this.
Right.
We're coming back with like the funniest books he could have turned his head and said something like ridiculous. Okay, here we go. Young Arthur is lucky to be selected to attend a special school for clever students. Underline this word clever. Clever just means smart. It means bright. It means intelligent. We have a lot of 同义词 synonyms for 聪明 in English. Again, clever, smart, bright, intelligent. What else? Anything else?
Yeah, you just say all of it.
There we go.
没错，我们来看一下第二段第一句话哦。他说 ，Young of Arthur， 好，他就是我们的主角，对不对？哈，这个 Arthur Conan Doyle is lucky to be selected， 他很幸运的被选为什么？选到了去 to attend a special school for clever students。Clever 就是老师刚刚所讲的聪明的，我们有很多其他的字汇，像什么 smart、intelligent， 好，这些字都很好用。然后他就有机会被选到一个特殊给这种资优生的学校，啊，是可以让大家资优的学生可以去念的。
Gifted.
Gifted.
Yeah. So gifted is like super smart. So you have smart, bright, clever, intelligent, gifted students. You will hear about schools for gifted students. Okay, so Conan, he turns his head and he sees the book Shrek. He's like, my name is Shrek.
史瑞克哦，哇，为什么不是绿的呢？
He sees this chance as a way to help his family and joins the school, Baskerville Hall. Let's remember, school in the past was not free for everybody. Most kids didn't go to school past like 3rd grade, maybe 5th grade. Only rich people, wealthy people, or very gifted, clever, bright, intelligent students can go to school for a long time. Most kids had to quit school in elementary school to go work on a farm or go work in a factory. So Conan he's living in poverty. He's poor, but he can go to a school. That means someone is paying for him.
啊，所以说老师刚刚提到说呢，在以前的时候，小朋友大概读完小学，你看国外的话，在美国像小学其实只有5年，对不对？可能读完了之后呢，很多小朋友因为家里没有钱，就赶快去工厂工作啦，或去送报啊，去开始工作，开始赚钱了。然后真正能够继续往下念的，要么就是家里很有钱，要么就是他非常天资非常很聪颖，然后到后来很多人觉得哦，这个孩子可以栽培，就愿意花钱好去让他继续往上念。那在这里的话，我们看到我们的主角Arthur， 他本身的话家里很穷，所以照理来讲，应该是有人帮他出钱让他继续往上念书。
All right, he turns his head and he sees Alice in Wonderland. He's like, my name's Alice.
没错，老师还在想很可爱的书名，对不对？好可爱。
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna find something good.
没错。
After arriving at Baskerville Hall, he becomes friends with 2 other students, Irene and Jimmy, though he also makes a few enemies.
好，所以你看到了一个学校，对不对？你看说 after arriving， 到了这个学校了之后呢 ，he becomes friends with 2 other students.Irene and Jimmy， 碰到了一些很好的那种搭档，可以变成好朋友的人 ，Irene and Jimmy。Though he also makes a few enemies， 当然还是会碰到一些比较差的，喜欢霸凌别人的啦，或者这些。
当然 ，really？
Yeah，
当然。
有可能会碰到，你想想看，在那个贵族学校里面
，OK，
很多身旁的都是一些有钱的同学，有些同学很无聊的时候都怎么办？就是欺负那些穷的同学。
Anthony walks in, he's like, friend, enemy, friend.
没错啊，所以因为我小的时候有读过那个，就是这种私立学校嘛，所以你会发现到说啊，原来是你会感受到环境上面，如果说今天同学家都比你有钱的时候，当然我没有同学欺负我，但是我可以想见在那种情况下，有可能会发生这样的事情。
All right, here we go. Just as Arthur begins to settle in, get used to his time, a series of break-ins, thefts, and creepy events threaten his future at Baskerville Hall.
好，接下来我们看下面这句话说 ，Just as Arthur begins to settle in 的意思就是慢慢适应这个环境等等。好 ，get used to the new environment。好 ，a series of break-ins, thefts and creepy events。好，接下来就有一系列的那种闯入啦，那种窃盗的事情啦，还有一些 creepy 这个字就是让人毛骨悚然的这种事件呢。Threaten his future， 好，就 threaten 这个字的意思就是威胁到我们主角的未来 at Baskerville Hall， 在这个学校里头。
This sentence is important to listen to because 我们的家常 is pretty special. Listen, settle in， 不是 settle in， break-ins, thefts 有短一 here because we know 那个小偷 is a thief with a 长一，这个是 theft. We have creepy 2个 e, that's kind of easy. 然后 we have threaten. 这个也有 EA, but 这个是短语 threaten, not threaten.
没错，所以这里面的话要特别注意一下母音的发音啊 ，settle in， 然后呢还有 break-ins， 好 theft， 还有那个 creepy， 还有 threaten 这些字要特别注意一下。
Listen to this sentence. But you can right now take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have paragraph 3. Hey friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We're on pages 12 and 13. Make sure to write your notes in your magazine. And let's begin paragraph 3. Meanwhile, Arthur and his friends are invited to join a secret society called the Clover.
好，接下来我们看这一段的第一句话，他告诉你说 ，Meanwhile， 在此同时呢 ，Arthur and his friends are invited to join a secret society called the Clover. 好，我们先讲一下这个 secret society， 就是很像是一个 secret club.
Yeah, it just means club. It means group.
没错，所以在这里的话，这个 society 不是说社会，它是一个社团的一个感觉。然后 called the clover 的话是叫做那个三叶草。然后有时候我们之前有讲过那个 four-leaf clover， 就是四叶幸运草的故事嘛，对不对？所以接下来呢，这个同时 Arthur 跟我们主角跟他的朋友，另外两个 Jimmy 还有 Irene， 对不对？他们就被邀请了去参加一个这个神秘的社团，这个社团名叫做三叶草的 Clover。
Yeah, so meanwhile just means at the same time. And if this feels like, oh yeah, how secret society, someone in the past, if people in this time in like the 1900s, in the late 1800s, they really loved secret societies. Secret clubs, they have a special handshake. They really love this stuff back then. I don't know why. To become members, they must take on 3 challenges. So they have to face 3 challenges. They have to do these 3 things.
所以接下来告诉你说 to become members 要成为会员，你还必须要经过一些挑战。They must take on 3 challenges. 这个 challenges 就是挑战，然后如果说 take on 就是接受这个挑战。比方说，可能有一些这个社团的入会仪式，你要从那个塞纳河跳下去。好，类似像这样的那种 initiation 那种感觉，就是你入会的仪式啊等等。它这边的话是有3个事情要完成。
In the process, Arthur discovers a mystery that leads him on a dangerous adventure.
好，接下来还告诉你说 in the process 在这过程当中呢 Arthur discovers a mystery. Mystery 的意思就是神秘的事情。他发现一个谜团that leads him on a dangerous adventure. 在寻找谜团的过程当中，慢慢的让他踏上了一段危险之旅。
Very nice. I would also take our pencil and draw a line from mystery to detective in our subtitle. Because what do detectives do? Detectives solve mysteries. Draw that arrow so we remember to link those words.
没错，所以的 mystery 这个字的话，最好可以把这个 detective 这2个字连结在一起，因为 detectives solve mysteries， 好，就是能够解开谜团的都是这些侦探们。
All right, and with that, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we got paragraph 4?
Yes.
4. Okay, friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We're on pages 12 and 13. We're learning about young Arthur Conan Doyle, the character in his own story called The Improbable Tales of Baskerville Hall. Let's begin our final paragraph. Readers familiar with the Sherlock Holmes series will recognize many of the characters in the book.
好，我们在这一段里面，第一句话告诉你说 ，Readers familiar with the Sherlock Holmes series， 就是熟悉福尔摩斯系列作品的这些读者。我们看到 familiar with 就是指熟悉的。这个地方你也可以说 readers who are familiar with the Sherlock Holmes series 也可以。好，在这边的话就直接把 who are 拿掉，直接告诉你说，这些读者是熟悉福尔摩斯作品的 ，will recognize many of the characters in the book。会在这本书，我们现在读的这个书里面呢，会找到非常非常多熟悉的人名。Recognize 就是认出、认得啊，书中好多角色都是我在福尔摩斯看过的名字耶。
Hey, Anthony, have you ever read like a Sherlock Holmes story?
Yes.
Yeah, which one have you read?
The Hound of Baskerville.
Oh, really?
Yes.
When
yes.
did you read that?
Back in college, I think.
I've read a lot of famous like classic books, and I have never read a Sherlock Holmes story. I just never did. What did you think of it?
我觉得里面有一些讲很细节的东西，比方说，我看你从这里面走出来，然后你脚上的鞋子怎样怎样，我觉得还蛮有趣。但是当时我在看英文的时候，我觉得因为那个字啊，各方面叙述的方式有点比较难，所以我可能就会跳过。但是整体的那个情节啊走向我很喜欢。
而且事实上，那个时代的那个作者 ，they love like to like really describe things.
Right.
But I think for like a detective that solves mysteries, that makes sense because you have to pay attention to the little things, right?
Right.
But like Charles Dickens or something, like another famous author, just la 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 about something really small.
Right.
So it's like, oh my God.
Oh my God, yes.
But yeah, I've never read. I should read a Sherlock Holmes book. Yeah, Baskerville, you think read that one?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay. Dr. Watson appears as one of the teachers at Baskerville Hall. So Dr. Watson, we know, is like the guy that assists Sherlock Holmes in his book.
没错，所以在这个福尔摩斯系列作品里面，华生医生 Dr. Watson 他就是这算是辅佐吧，好去帮忙的。比方说，很多时候 Sherlock Holmes 会讲说啊，我比较没有空，哎，没关系，那个华生会陪你去，好像把他当成佣人在使唤。但是华生也很乖的，就是好好的去记录很多的福尔摩斯作品，都是透过华生的观察去把它记录下来的。
And of course, it couldn't be a Holmes-influenced story without Holmes himself, who makes an appearance near the end of the book.
好，所以你看啊，他前面他提到说了，这个华生也出现在这个书里头嘛，他在这里面的话是当老师，然后他说 ，and of course，当然啦 ，it couldn't be a Holmes influenced story。A Holmes influenced story， 这个 Holmes influenced 就是受到这个福尔摩斯影响的，你可以把它倒过来念 ，a story that is influenced by the Sherlock Holmes series。好，可以用这样的方式去看。所以说，今天他如果说今天受到这个 Holmes 影响的这个作品，然后如果没有 Holmes 的话，那不是很奇怪吗？所以他告诉你说 ，Who makes an appearance near the end of the book？ 意思就是啊，当然啦，既然这是受到福尔摩斯影响的作品，那怎么可能没有福尔摩斯呢？那福尔摩斯就在这个书的最后的部分登场啦。
That's right. So when we make an appearance in English, that means we show up or we see someone, but usually just for a short time. Not for the whole time, just for a short time. Read it yourself to find out what these young detectives discover in this Holmes-inspired world.
没错，最后这句话呢，告诉你说 ，read it yourself。好，就是你自己好好阅读一下 ，to find out， 好，就是去找出、去看看 what these young detectives discover in this Holmes-inspired world。这边这个 Holmes-inspired world 结构跟前面这个 Holmes-influenced 是一样的，它是那种复合形容词，好，用名词加上这个 VPP 来要变成一个形容词哦。
Did you know that the real Arthur Conan Doyle thought he could talk to dead people?
好，他这个老师告诉你说呢，说你知不知道这个 Conan Doyle 啊，就是福尔摩斯的作者，他会相信说啊，人是可以跟亡灵沟通的。
That's right. Not only that, he also really didn't like Sherlock Holmes, but because he made so much money, he loved to write those stories. We have stories like this and a whole lot more tomorrow on day 2 with Enjoy English School. So, for Enjoy English School, I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Anthony.
We'll see you tomorrow. Don't miss it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.